Okay, so this is a very different video. So today I'm here at Haynes Motor Museum. It's my very first time here, and it's a place that I've been longing to visit actually for quite a while now. I've known about it for years, but today, on Bank Holiday Monday, is actually the first time I'm able to come and pay a visit. I got roped into it sort of last minute. Andy was going to come along with Dad, and they asked if I wanted to come along, so while the opportunity was there, I said yes. I'm surprised that I actually made it in the end, given the fact that I was up in Hampshire for a summer party. So glad to have got a difference. Now, in terms of how I'm going to execute this video, I'm going to just show a few snippets around the museum. I will also have a photo album on my public Facebook page, which I will link to in the description. Now, the music which I will put over, because I've had issues with so-called royalty-free music, and it ends up being copyrighted, because if you're one of those people that makes royalty-free music and then puts it through a copywriting system, I despise you as a human being. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to experiment with GarageBand loops, so I'll see what good I can make out of it, but let's check out Haynes Motor Museum for the very first time. Now there was something that actually caught my eye about this, which is the 1973 Citroen SM Coupe, and that was this. I don't want to touch it because I'm not supposed to, but a number plate behind glass, and that is, I've never actually seen that before in my life. If there's one thing you need, as if there's proof that the general public sometimes can't read, it's this. Now you can see that there are finger smudges all over the cars, and I know why people have done this, because they saw on the sign that this sand came from the Sahara Desert. So they thought, oh, we'll get a little bit on our fingers and we'll have sand on the tips of our fingers that have come all the way from the Sahara Desert. So if you think, I genuinely cannot believe some people, the fact that it specifically says do not touch the car, and yet people do the complete opposite. They can read because they read Sahara Desert, so they've clearly thought, yeah, we'll get a little bit of momentum. We've got sand on our fingers that comes all the way from the Sahara Desert. So I feel like that needs to be addressed.
Afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. Well, let's see how long this lasts for. Welcome to the driving demonstration. My name's John. I'm a volunteer here. My colleagues, Alistair, Colin, and Dave. We're going to do some gentle driving demonstrations. Those of you expecting burnouts and donuts are going to be disappointed, I'm afraid. It's intolerably hot out here. Let's get on with it. Get back here. Got a few more. Just hang on a couple of minutes for any late arrivals. What you see before your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, is a Haynes cabine. In the period post-Second World War, this type of vehicle was quite common on the streets. Was designed and built to get the populace of Europe mobile after the war, really. Some of you will know that Haynes were indeed a manufacturer of aeroplanes, hence the look. Looks very much like an airplane cockpit. It was built by Haynes for 2 years. They sold the rights to a company in Ireland. They couldn't come to grips with it, so sold the license on to a company called Trojan, who you may have heard of. And you can see an example of a Trojan micro vehicle in the museum when you go around. Alistair, are you going to go for a ride round in the back? Can you get out? It's all right, nobody's watching. From the sublime to the ridiculous, we move on to the Bajaj auto rickshaw. Anybody ever travelled in one of these when you've been on holiday? Yeah? Or more frequently referred to as the tuk-tuk. Cheap and efficient methods for running taxi businesses, also goods services. I've seen some photographs of these things loaded up tremendously with materials and goods. Typically found in tropical and subtropical countries. Bajaj are from Pune, and they sell 750,000 of these every year. That's mind-boggling, isn't it? Gives you an idea of the size of the Asian market. I would suggest that with the demise of the Honda step-through C90 scooter, which at one time was probably the most common transport on the earth, this has probably taken over from it now. And there's a case for saying that this was amongst the cars that pretty much signalled the end of the indigenous British car industry. Saw off a lot of the familiar names that we would have known at the time. It was launched in '82, into Britain in '83. It was available in 2 brake horsepower versions, 49 or the sportier 54 brake horsepower. With either a 5-speed manual option or an automatic option, hence the more powerful engine to pull the gears. It only weighs 630 kilograms out of the factory, and its claimed fuel consumption was 67 mpg. So you can understand its popularity. When this was launched, Peugeot launched the 205, Fiat launched the Uno, Vauxhall launched the Nova, Ford launched the Mark II Ford Fiesta, so it was a very, very competitive marketplace. Moving up in horsepower, 1970s supercar, Ford Escort Mexico. Mark I Escort launched in 1968, replaced the Anglia, Harry Potter's car. This is the most successful Ford in terms of sales outside of America. In 6 years, 2 million were sold. The particular model we have in Mexico is a Ford Celebration model, marking their victory in the World Cup rally. Obviously, England won the World Cup in 1966. Those were the days. 1970, the World Cup was in Mexico, I think. So the organisers arranged a rally all across, I think, about 12, 13 countries, many thousands of miles, to finish in Mexico. So off the back of that, Ford launched the celebratory model, which is the Mexico here. To be fair to Ford, it wasn't just badges and stickers. They actually took the body shells off the production line and increased the strength in them so that they would make viable competition cars. On to Alistair's MG-BG-T V8. Alistair's one of the volunteers here. This is his own personal vehicle. He's had it 4 years. It's an ongoing restoration. In total, just over 500,000 MG-BGTs were built from 62 until 1980. It did run for a very long time, but only about 2,500 were V8s. In the pecking order at Leyland, MG were quite a way down the totem pole, so Rover and Land Rover got their pick of V8 engines first. The other thing to bear in mind is when this was launched in 1973, some of you will remember, we were in the midst of a petrol oil crisis. Yeah, OPEC countries had reduced their output, and so everybody was scrambling for economical cars, not 140 horsepower V8 sports cars. But if I'm honest with you, this next car is my personal favourite. It's got a lovely V8 engine in it. 2005 model Ford Mustang GT. This is probably the car that saved and resurrected the Mustang brand. Prior to this, the previous model, I mean, to be fair to Ford, they'd always built Mustangs. Some of them were not necessarily the high watermark. The one prior to this probably looked more like a Toyota Celica, and the model before that looked rather like a sort of pumped up XR3i Escort. Fair play to Ford, they understood the importance of the brand, so they put a team aside and gave them a blank sheet of paper and said, reinvent the Mustang. This particular vehicle was donated to us by Haynes Publishing. You're probably all aware that the museum has nothing to do with Haynes Publishing anymore, two separate entities, but we still have ties. If you've got a Haynes manual for this car, this is the actual car that they use for all the photography in the handle. Honda Civic Type R limited edition. This is a pre-production prototype. It's not easy to say. Some of you who are car nuts may remember back in 1999, Honda built a limited edition Civic to celebrate Jordan Grand Prix, who were running Mugen Honda V8s in the 8s or 6s, certainly Mugen Honda engines. So yeah, Honda and Eddie Jordan got together, did a limited edition of 200, sold out. So later, in the 2000s, Honda decided it was a good idea, we'll do it again. So they did this limited edition Civic Type R. Also in Honda's thinking was the fact that Volkswagen had just stolen the fastest lap around the Nürburgring in a front-wheel drive car from Honda with the Golf Club Sport. So Honda wanted that back. It's left-hand drive because that's preferable for the Nürburgring, obviously not preferable for on the road in the UK. It's got no stereo in it, it's got no air conditioning in it. The brake systems had to be revalved, the ABS, to make it less intrusive for the lap record. So you really, it's a lovely thing, but you really wouldn't want to drive it on the road any distance, I can assure you. This particular car, when it was launched, as I say, one of only 20 in the UK, was £39,995. Now you might think that's a lot of money, but like Glastonbury tickets, they sold out almost instantly. And the vast majority of them went into collections. One came on the market the same year at nearly £100,000. Don't know whether it sold or not, so I can't say it was worth £100,000, but it came on the market. Even earlier this year, a low mileage example was on the market for £59,000. So as cars, they're really objects of art, really, and collector's items. We'll get the gate open. Do come on, just be aware, hot engines. Other than that, thanks for your time. Look forward to showing you around the cars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so I'm going to wrap this up as quick as I can because my dad and Andy want to get something quick to it. Probably want to start heading off soon. But this is my first ever time at Haynes Motor Museum, and I really enjoyed today. I ended up coming on a whim, and I'm so happy that I did it in the end. The place is just amazing. Like the vehicles we got to see. The one vehicle I was disappointed, however, that I didn't get to see was the Imperial P50. It was in that museum somewhere, but according to Andy, it's been taken out. So that was the only bummer for today. But overall, that I'm going to leave for that video. Thanks you so much for watching. Not 100% if I will have anything for next week. This is my first video in 2 weeks. I didn't really upload anything because last week I just didn't have anything. But as always, take care and hopefully see you around soon.